Welcome to Seacoast Stories, a podcast about the people, businesses, and newsmakers that make the Seacoast an American hidden gem. I am Trey Farkas, and on today's episode, we get you fully prepared for this Thursday's live podcast at the Word Barn in Exeter. Jay Collins of Flight House Gym and Alyssa Pine of Live Freely are two of our three speakers, the other being Joe Kelly of Cup of Joe here in Portsmouth. And on this episode, we will replay excerpts from each of their earlier appearances, that is, Alyssa and Jay, which will remind you of their stories and will give you the full context for the conversations that we will have on Thursday night. Thursday is not just the second Seacoast Stories live podcast, it is also the 1-year anniversary of the show. I am really proud of how far this show has come in just 1 year. When I started this show, I knew it would work and that I could put my years of experience at ESPN and Spotify and on working on some of the biggest podcasts in the world. I knew I could put all of that toward making a good show. What I didn't know was just how much you guys would like it and how much this show would mean to so many of you. And honestly, how much this show has changed my life. I think about this show every waking hour of every day. It's kind of annoying, but I love it so much and it means so much to me. And I see the fruits of my labor and how it's changing people's lives, affecting people's businesses, how it's making others happy, how it's bringing joy to people's lives, and how it is connecting all of us. I have so much love in my life now because of this show. I have made so many tremendous relationships, have had so many memorable conversations, both on the show and with all of you when I run into you around some of our favorite Seacoast spots. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the support over the last year, for listening, for joining me along in the ride, which is really only just beginning. By attending Thursday and supporting the show in this way, you will be directly supporting my big dreams for this show and the plans that I have to take Seacoast Stories from a podcast to something deeper. Something that tells the real stories that matter, that makes people feel deeply, that entertains, and that ultimately brings together people in real life, because that is where life is best lived. It will be a special night with 3 inspiring conversations. We'll play Seacoast Trivia, where one lucky winner will win free beer for an entire year, courtesy of Loaded Question. And speaking of questions, at the end of each interview, we'll take 3 questions from you, the audience. And when you ask a question, you're giving yourself a 33% chance of winning any of the following prizes from some of our past guests. There's a $25 gift card to Read More Books and Brews in Portsmouth, a $50 gift card to Flamingo's Coffee Bar, which works in both Exeter and Hampton. And there's also a $50 gift card to the Living Room in Dover. So come curious, come hungry and thirsty. Food and drinks will be available there. My dear friend Kate, she'll be at the merch table where you can check out our new Seacoast Stories trucker hats. There's hoodies, t-shirts, coffee mugs, and more. To guarantee your spot before we run out of tickets, we suggest you click the ticket link in the show notes of this episode. We really want to see as many of you there as possible so that we can celebrate the Seacoast and celebrate 1 year of this podcast. This episode today is presented by our friends at Empowering Path in Portsmouth, and it begins with Jay Collins of Flight House Gym, who used to own a very popular gym called Max Edge Fitness, and in this excerpt, he talks about what led to the growth of Max Edge and why he made the difficult decision to later close it down after a decade plus, which led him to the birth of Flight House. And also, we talk about why exercise is the key to unlocking the fountain of youth. Here's Jay Collins.
Okay, so we do a Thanksgiving workout every year. Okay, we continued it here at Flight House. We had 145 people sign up for the Thanksgiving workout this year here. Okay, so it's a thing. Well, that started the very first year on Thanksgiving with me. And again, my wife's like, oh my God, you're going to go out to the gym on Thanksgiving and work out? I'm like, I want to get a workout. Like, Thanksgiving is the best holiday ever. Okay, there's no presents. Like, you stay at home, you can eat too much, you drink what you want. It's like a day of gluttony. Just have a good time. Like, forget about whatever, if you're counting macros or if you're doing anything to me, it was always the best. But you need to get a good sweat in to start the day. Wake the day feeling well and then go from there. And that's what I wanted to do. So I threw it out to the gym at the time. And it was, we opened in September 2011. This is November 2011. And I'm like, hey, if anybody wants to work out on Thanksgiving morning, come on out. Well, 16 people showed up that morning. I have no idea how many members we had at the time. Not a lot. Well, less than 100 for sure. I remember at that time thinking, oh my God, how am I ever going to teach a class this size again? 16 people. So I'm like, well, my mind was blown. So it was like, there was that moment. And then the next Thanksgiving is when it really kind of kicked in. Things started getting bigger. I remember some mornings looking at the 6 a.m. class. I'm like going, holy cow. That next Thanksgiving we had, I think it was like 68 people. So that was when I'm like, I bought rowers. We got really heavy into those. I even remember a local gym owner sent me a direct message on Facebook and saying, did you rent all those rowers for that? Nobody did that back then. So for me, that was a big investment at that time. I was like, okay, I'm starting to evolve the product here. I need to make sure equipment is important.
Right.
And so it was at that point that I kind of started reinvesting some money into the business too. But that was the moment where I'm like, oh my God, in the last year I've gone from 16 people in a class I thought I could never handle more than. I got 68 people dialed in. That happened over the course of a year. So it was really at that point where I was like, we're on to something.
Yeah.
We really are. And then shortly thereafter, Jack went away to college for a year. And I remember he came home after his first semester and said, Dad, I'm just pissing away your money. I want to be in the gym. This is what I want to do. And I get it. College isn't for everybody. And I think too often people feel like that's the path they have to go down because
that's what we're told.
We're told,
Very self-aware of him to do that.
Yeah, it was great, honestly.
Great for your wallet.
Yeah, it was. But I think, and I've already seen my 2 older boys, all right, like Matt and Trevor got signed to a record label when they were, Trevor was 13. 14 years old, he was done with school. They were touring.
Wow.
Yeah, got his GED, but he's super smart, super successful in all different types of businesses, not just the band.
Wow.
So it's like, we've always had this understanding that there's more to it than just that proper education, and he had a passion for it. So when he came on, that was when I really kind of felt like couldn't afford to pay him.
Yeah.
Couldn't afford to pay him shit. To be honest with you. It's like, hey, okay, you're living at home. You're going to make, I think we paid him back then $250 a week or something like that. And he was working a lot, but that's all we could afford and still keep a roof over everybody's head.
Yeah. On the subject of money, I mean, if you're trying to get really good gym equipment, that's expensive.
Yeah.
How much money was needed to operate the business and where was it coming from?
Well, luckily, memberships got to a point early on in Max Edge where we were able to cover our overhead. We spent our own money on the equipment. We spent our own personal money to go ahead and fit up the upfront costs.
So life savings for finance at early days.
Done it twice now.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, this place definitely did it.
How terrifying was that to do that?
Yeah, man, I don't know. It's like one of those things where I think you get to a certain point and, you believe in something so much that if you don't roll the dice, it's worse not to roll the dice. I'll do it again. Fuck yeah. Seriously, I'll do it again. You can be cautious for myself. I'm not like that. That's not how it comes naturally to me. I had to grow into this. And honestly, I could never do it by myself because I'm not smart enough. I know where my strengths are. But without my wife kind of handling the operation side and you get to a certain point where you have a certain level of confidence and it's not just in diluted confidence. It's a confidence that because you have the discussion and you both believe in what you're trying to do, there's got to be a real belief there, not delusion, and that evolves over time. And it wasn't until I really found that thing that I felt confident enough to put my neck on the line.
Something that doesn't come naturally to me is delegation.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about it.
I'm such a control freak, and I imagine you probably were in the early days of Max Edge
such
as
an
well.
Asshole. Such an asshole.
Such an asshole when you were doing everything. I'm sure you were mopping the floors, cleaning the toilets.
Mopping the floors in my 50s. Okay, so really, I opened this place only 2 years ago.
Yeah, you were doing everything. You feel like
shit. Yeah,
you feel like you're the only one that knows how this can run, and no one else can. But at some point, you reach a point where it's like, for this to work, I have to get over my ego and trust other people to take some of the burden. How did you get yourself there?
by realizing that there's things I'm good at and there's things I'm not good at, and everybody has their role. And, there's times I would find myself interfering like with something that was happening operationally. And then after I walked away and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? I am just screwing this all up. We're sitting right outside of my office here is right outside of the front desk. Trust me, if I had to do this all over again, I'd bury myself someplace out back, because just being able to sit here and like listen to stuff, I'm that idiot that's going to go out. It does nothing. The only way to like learn how to get good at things is to work at it, to do it. It's why our trainers are full-time. Reps. Life's about reps. Well, how's the guy running my front desk going to get better at his job if I come out here and still just keep, every time I hear something that kind of puts a hair across my ass, like I'm interfering. And any type of business that has any aspirations to become more than just me, you need that. Otherwise, you'll never be able to grow.
Well, Max Edge did grow a lot into one of the premier gyms on the Seacoast, but eventually you had to change course with it.
Yeah.
Why did Max Edge go away?
Okay. So, you remember this thing called COVID?
A little bit.
So, now picture this. And again, I will just say this, okay? I've had this concept in my head that what we are right now for years. Making it a reality, it seemed like a pipe dream. COVID comes along. We're in our 10th year, okay, of being in business. And all of a sudden, overnight, you're done. You're not essential. You have 2 days to close down your business. Somehow, everything that you worked for overnight, because of this invisible pandemic that it really hadn't even hit here yet. It was all in anticipation of what was coming and the fear that went along with that and everything else. And I don't even want to get into politics, okay, because this isn't what it's about. But really, it was fucked up. It was, honestly, like you have you couldn't go into a gym and exercise, but I could stand in line inside a donut shop and wait for somebody to fill up my dozen donuts. Made zero sense at all. Anyway, at least to me, it didn't.
And you also had, I wasn't at Max Edge, but you had space. You could socially distance responsibly, right?
For sure. And we had the equipment to do it, and we did do it. Even when we reopened, we didn't have one case that was traced back to the gym. Back when they were doing contact tracing, not one. People were healthy. They were healthy. So anyway, we're closed down, and during that time, right back to square one. We're now 54. I'm teaching every single class a day. I'm mopping the floors, cleaning the bathroom, all that stuff. I decided then and there that if we made it out of this, I had my lease coming up like in a year. At that point, I had like another year left or something along those lines. So I was like, in the next year, I'm either going to make something big happen or I'm going to get the fuck out. I'm 50-something years old. I'm starting over. If I made this work for all this time, I'll go out and I'll sell whatever you got. I'll make a living somehow. But if I can make this different, if I can make this something that's going to be bigger, I can pull up the Instagram post, but December of 2020, I posted this picture on my Instagram page saying the next year I'm going to do something big. About a year later, I walked into this building for the first time, took a video of the space and sent it out to all 7 of the kids. And I said, you're looking at the future of Max Edge. Had no idea how I was going to pay for it. Had no idea, zero idea, because clearly our membership had plummeted. We're holding on by a thread. I gave out every single piece of equipment in the gym, delivered it to my members, all my rowers, bike ergs, ski ergs, all of our kettlebells, emptied the place out. I didn't have crap to work out with by myself, barely. And every night we created at-home workouts, put out a video every night just to keep them going, keep them engaged. Had a lot of people that stopped paying, and that's fine. That's how it happens, But we had people that stayed for those couple of months and then people that wound up coming back. But, we're still battling. Once we reopened, we're still battling, just the whole psyche.
Right. And how long were you closed for?
Just about 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you were told by the state that you had to close, what did you think was going to happen to the business from that point on?
It's really weird because, like, I'll be honest, like it was a scary time. I mean, like I remember, I'll never forget the day that I just gave out all the, it was like 2 days later, I gave out all the equipment and I'm standing in the empty gym because I couldn't stay in the house. I'm one of these guys, I get up, I got to go. Okay. So I would still go to the gym every day. I would spend the whole day there. I just had to. But I remember I got a text from somebody and they said, "Hey, canceling my membership. Sorry, you know how much I love you guys." And it was from somebody I like didn't expect to get it from. And I remember thinking, shit, here it comes. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those times where you do begin to wonder. And then I remember there was one point where, I don't know, I just got angry. And I used that anger to kind of, right or wrong, just kind of like fuel me. I promised everybody, when you come back, it's not just going to be the same, it's going to be better. And it was. It was. Like so much of the stuff that evolved out of that time, you know, we use in our classes now that didn't exist before then because I had to think differently. Sometimes, you know, shit happens and you can either lay down and die. You can either just wait for it to pass and kind of just keep moving forward, or you can try to figure out a way to get better. And I truly believe that any time that there's a real conflict, there's opportunities. There's opportunities. People will, I said at the time, people are going to come out of this pandemic better than they were before. And that's me. Like, thank God. But yeah, that was the trigger that made this happen. And when we did go all in on this and really went all in, because what it took to create Max Edge in the beginning was just a fraction of what it actually took to, I mean, I'll walk you around out there. You know, there's probably $750,000 worth of equipment. That doesn't just appear, you know. It takes a real commitment. To us, equipment is everything. So it was one of these things, if we're going to do it, we got to figure out a way how to really do it. And fortunately, we were able to pull it off. The opportunity came about and I had no idea how it was going to come together. I had no idea how I was going to pay for it, any of that stuff. It just kept moving forward until it all came together.
Well, that's an incredible conviction that you had. I'm curious because you said you were at that crossroads of, I'm getting out of this business entirely and doing something different, or I'm going all in again on fitness and building something bigger than I can even imagine right now. When you were at that place, those are polar opposites. How did you get yourself amped up and hyped up to go do something that hadn't been done before?
The idea for this is, it wasn't like it just popped in that, like, it all started Jack and I one day during a workout ourselves in between classes. Can you imagine if we could ever do this? It was literally like one of those conversations. You know what needs to happen? Somebody needs to like combine these two worlds and cater to somebody that wants something better on the open gym.
Worlds of just open gym, open space, and fitness classes.
Yeah. I'll never talk crap about like any gyms around here, but like, you know, most commercial gyms, sorry, but your group classes are subpar. They just are. They don't invest in their proper equipment for them, space, training. They'll rely on a trainer that may just have a certificate, but has never, ever created anything that's remotely close to what we do here. And they call that a group class. But really, it's just somebody that has like a personal training certificate that they got online. But, you know, sorry. Any of you guys that are doing that out there right now, get real life experience because that's where it's at. Certificates are great. All right, you got to have them or whatever. But there was an opportunity for like what I felt was something better, particularly around here. You know, again, no knocks against other gyms. It's just like there's very few places that have space that would invest that kind of capital into like that kind of square footage that only goes towards classes. You know what I mean? If you're a commercial gym, you've got to have a product that can back it up, that can cover those expenses. So I always knew that like this type of training had legs, particularly if the training was good. You know, your product's going to be good, period. You know, if you have a constant flow of new trainers coming in and they're the ones that are providing the experience for your members, well, sorry, you got zero consistency there. You know, what we have is years of thousands and thousands of formats and programs that we put together that just work.
When you transitioned from Max Edge to Flight House, it's not a good business practice to completely rebrand a big brand 11 years in.
Yeah.
How difficult was it the early days of Flight House, just getting the word out about it and telling your old customers like, hey, this is same concept in terms of the group feel and whatnot, but just bigger and better, come with us? How difficult was it to get people to come with you?
It was hard. Oftentimes people don't like change. And I think that there was certainly a component of people that were upset that we were removing them from their home. There was that element to it, way more than I thought. And yeah, that part was like, for me at the time, for us, my wife and I, that was the scariest part. You got all these people questioning your decision. So many people questioning the decision to do this. And then the name change, it's like one of those things where initially you're like, are they right? Am I doing the right thing? But then ultimately there's a reason why we did it. And it's funny because once we did open here, it became very clear early on that we weren't as well known, Max Edge, as I thought we were. The number of people that walked in here that were here just because like they weren't here because Max Edge moved there. No, it was amazing to me, like how few people from the Portsmouth area actually knew who we were. And it was eye-opening. But immediately though, people were knowing what Flight House was. It was strange. Like it was almost like a relief that like people weren't attached to the name. You'll still see people in the group class wearing their old Max Ed swag. It's a little bit like a badge of honor. They were here before this was what it was, but we're upwards of 1,200 members now, so we weren't anywhere close to that. We had less than I want to say we had about 150 people left over by the time we came over here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, we took a hit. A lot of them came back. Right? They were upset about the move. It's going to be too far to go to Rye or whatever. And then all of a sudden, when you do open up a big, shiny facility, it kind of changes people's minds a little bit, and they can see now the vision. And you go to the grocery store, and if they change the aisles around, you're going to be, what the hell? You know what I mean? It's all the food still in the store. It's just in different aisles. Okay.
Right.
For here, yeah, it was like, oh my God, my routine. You mean I can't wake up at 5:52 in order to make it to the 6 a.m. class anymore? You know what I mean? It's like stuff like that, Yeah. Like really first world problems, man. So that quickly went away. And now it's like everybody gets it. The people that didn't come get it, and the people that are here, they get it and understand that we just weren't that anymore. That Max Edge was something different. We're still like the programming, the classes, the family that runs the business is all still the same. But when you walk in, if you're at Max Edge and you walk in here, you understand that this place is just different. It's better.
Joe Rogan says all the time that exercise, if you put that shit in a pill, everyone and their mother would have that 3 times a day.
Yeah.
It just takes work, but it literally solves every single physical and mental problem that can arise.
It's so easy to just I can't today. Like the excuses, like shit, man. That's the one thing I haven't been able to kind of not roll my eyes at when people tell me. It's like, it might not be this, but go do something that you're interested in. You know what I mean? Like we kind of all get into the dogma of what we do as far as training goes and how it's the best and why people should do it or whatnot, but just go do something. If you're someone that loves spin, you know what I mean? Like, oh my God, my daughter down in South Boston, she loves going to those classes.
Yeah. Go to Studio One. We love
Studio One is great. She's phenomenal. Really, really great. And clearly it shows. She has a following there and a passion for it. But whatever it is, do something. And, it can change. It's okay. Honestly, that's one of the secrets behind our open gym concept. It is people might get tired of doing the classes eventually at some point. Oh, good. Just go over there. Switch your membership.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So whatever it is, just do something. The great thing about spin or something like that is there is entertainment value there.
Mm-hmm. It's so fun.
You get an instructor that's leading the class and getting you into it. That's something that can move you, okay, and bring you back. And then maybe you have certain people that you like better than others, but still, it's unique. And so for those people that are driven by that kind of energy, awesome. Then this might not be for you. I mean, because that's a certain kind of energy. People love that. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like that's a different thing.
Moral of the story is find whatever works for you and then just lean into that because it will. People will think, oh, like I don't have enough energy to work out. Guess what? Paradoxically, working out, you'll have more energy.
Yeah,
You'll wake
for
up
sure.
with more energy, more vitality. You'll be more motivation. You do a morning workout, that's the hardest thing you can do in a day. No matter what your day looks like, that's the hardest thing you can do in a day. The rest of the day is a cinch.
If you looked at like a picture of me at say 32 and then a picture of me at 52, 32, I was like a fat dad. You know what I mean? I had like these little kids. I had like no time. At least I thought I had no time. In a bad marriage. You know what I mean? Just not in a good space. So sometimes by taking that action, and particularly like I wish I thought of it then, but like you can be in like in a situation like that where like everything around you feels like it's just off. Life's off. My job's not quite what I want it to be. Physically, I'm not where I want it to be, but like shit, what do I really have control over? What can I really have control over? Well, I can have control over what I put in my mouth, and I can have control over what I do for myself physically every day. I can, even without a gym membership. You know, nowadays on YouTube, you can go on. Yeah. Hey, look we all need inspiration. You come in here, you're going to get inspired. You just are. You know what I mean? There's people that are like, when you come in here in the morning between the people in the open gym, the class is packed. It's like the energy is awesome. It's awesome. It's great. It's like, it's hard not to feel like that. Well, that's not all the time. There's times where you just got to say to yourself, okay, I am just going to go do something. And if it means that like, hey, for the next 15 minutes, I'm going to go through this cycle of push-ups, lunges, air squats. And then I'm going to run 400 meters and then come back and do some more, whatever it is. Move for 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is. That can be what starts you on your way.
Yeah. And you also don't need, I mean, I know we're here talking about the gym, but you don't need a gym.
You don't.
Nature, free. Walking, running, hiking, free.
Yep.
You don't need weights. Like your body is an incredible workout vessel in itself. If you just did all body weight stuff, that's hard.
Yeah, for sure. And you can get like nowadays, like there's so much information.
Some resistance bands. Yeah. I mean, that stuff's cheap. Like you can do so many incredible things. So moral of the story is fitness is great. We love fitness.
It is. It is. It can change a life and it can change your mindset, really, like it did mine.
Let me ask you a simple question. Do you want a better life? Okay, time's up. Duh, of course you do. Stick with me here. As we all get older and as life wears us out, a bunch of things happen inside our bodies that we don't realize. Our energy fields get blocked. Energy gets stuck. It's almost like that dusty TV that's sitting in your living room right now. The TV still works. You can still watch WMUR and you can still watch the Celtics, but it's all gross on the outside because you haven't tended to it in years. Well, the same thing happens with your body. It's just a bit harder for you to see. Luckily, we have one very special person on the Seacoast who can help you see the things that you can't. Her name is Alex Bynum, and she is one of the top 15 spiritual guides in the entire world. She offers a bunch of life-changing services through her business, Empowering Path, but my favorite one is the Life Activation. I personally received this healing last fall, and it was one of the best decisions I have ever made. Because since then, my life has dramatically changed. I became a yoga teacher because teaching is something that I'd always wanted to do, but I never acted upon. And I started getting out of my comfort zone way more often, something that I always said was important, but I didn't necessarily always practice what I had preached, but I do now. And the relationships I have in my life now, I mean, they are so deep and meaningful, and they are the ones that I spent all of my 20s looking for. Well, I finally found them here, and I think this Life Activation with Alex was a big part of my awakening. I can't say much more about it than that, but you just have to see it to believe it. To learn more and to schedule your own free consultation with Alex, just visit empoweringpath.com, the link to which is in today's show notes. Alex has also appeared at the Live Freely Market several times before, which leads us to part 2 of this podcast. It is an excerpt from my conversation with Alyssa Pine, the self-proclaimed dream dealer on the Seacoast. The Live Freely Market, if you don't know, it's a retail collaborative featuring 30-plus small businesses on the Seacoast. It's in Hampton, and it operates Friday through Sunday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. every weekend. It's a well-oiled machine at this point. But as with most things in Alyssa's life, the idea for it was born from chaos. Alyssa used to have a store where she sold her Live Freely merch, but she eventually made the painful decision to close the store. And from that decision sprang the Live Freely market. Here's Alyssa for more.
I don't even know what my plan was, how I was going to post that I was closing. I don't even know if I had one. So it was in that week that we were going to do the Spuddy Nose beer field. I was talking to my realtor because she was going to find someone else to take my lease. And I was like, I wish I could do something for 8 weeks. It was in August. So Christmas was right around the corner, which was my busy season. So I just need a space for 8 weeks. Maybe I share it with a few other small businesses in the same boat and we share the rent. I don't know, but I just wish I had a space. So Smutty Nose event came and went. It was hugely successful. It was the Sunday before school starting, which hindsight, I couldn't believe that I actually booked it for that. I'm no one's going to come the Sunday before school starts on Monday. Why did I do that? And we had 700 people through the door.
Wow.
Yeah. Smutty Nose said that it was one of the most well-attended first-year events they'd ever had. So it was good. It was okay, so I did something, I created something. This clearly worked for the small businesses. So how do I do that every weekend? So I talked to the realtor a little bit more. And then she was looking at some larger spaces in Hampton. And literally, it was just one of those things where she's oh yeah, let me call this space. She calls the space and she was they literally just rented it out an hour ago. I'm what the heck? I was okay. So then she mentioned this space, Rite Aid in Hampton. And she kind of was I don't really know what they're doing. We've had some inquiries and they've kind of sat there, but I'll reach out. And I was okay. That morning after we had that conversation, I woke up and it was an article that Los Olas had bought Rite Aid and he wanted to put something local in there. And I was oh my God, yes, call them right now. So she did. And she was so Spirit Halloween's going in there. I'm that's fine. I was when are they out? Are they out right after Halloween? We can go in. She's yeah, they're out November 15th. And I was cool. I want it. I want it for 8 weeks. See what he'll do. So he said yes, which is amazing. Totally taking a risk. Super appreciated it. And so I was okay, they're out November 15th. My lease starts November 16th. That's the day I'm going to open.
That's, of course.
Because,
Because you're a mess.
Yeah. In my mind, at the time, I thought that we were just going to pop-up tents. Kind of Live Freely Fest. So it's why wouldn't a pop-up for Christmas operate in the same way? So the idea was everyone to just kind of pop up tents and create small little stores and then would be open that day. What I didn't realize was how bad the Rite Aid, I won't say bad, but it just wasn't in good shape, Spirit Halloween had just gone in, so it didn't really give the landlord time to do anything with it. And what they did was they just put up black pegboards. So they kind of hit all the walls. So you couldn't really see any of the walls. But when I was in here, the 1,500 times that I came to Spirit Halloween to scope out the building, I was okay, we're not going to be able to just set up. I have to paint the walls. We got to do something. And then the tent idea, I was that's going to look so weird, just having tents. So I was what can I do? What can I do? So I'm we're going to build, what are they called? Pergolas?
I have no idea.
They're garden things. I call them pergolas, which is the wrong word. I think they're called pergolas. But I was maybe we'll build a bunch of those. And literally the arguments that I had with my dad being no, this is going to work. And him not seeing my vision until finally he's oh yeah, no, that's going to work. And then he builds them for me, which is amazing.
Aww.
But it was so hard to have people see my vision and understand what it was. And what it was that I wanted to do until they got it. And then they're oh no, that's going to work and it's going to look much better. So it went from just doing tents to building out these wooden structures for people. So I came up with this idea, still not knowing if I was going to get the keys in time to even do any of this. So I'm emailing the 100 vendors. I'm yeah, so you don't have to bring tents. I think I'm going to build out structures. I'll let you know.
Okay.
So people were oh, we'll help you paint, we'll help you do things. Just let us know. Literally the week before we were supposed to move in, I'm yeah, I'll let you know. I don't have the keys yet. Finally got the keys 3 days before. I had 30 people in here painting. We painted the walls in 3 hours. And then the next day, my dad came in with a few friends, hired a few contractors, just quickly do this. They got it done in 4 hours. And then I was like, okay, guys, we can set up. And there we were.
Wow. All right. That was a whirlwind. I have so many questions coming out of that. One piece of business advice I received a while back was before you've started a business and you are considering starting a new business, you have to ask yourself all of the ways in which this could fail or go wrong.
Yeah.
And so what sprang to mind for me was you had your market and you had to close that after re-upping your lease. Why did you think this was going to work?
I think because, like I said, it was so hard for me to close because I knew that I had the right product. People wanted to shop local. I had something people wanted, and I knew it could work, and I knew it would.
You just had a location issue. That was the issue.
Yeah. But I also think the reason why it didn't work because of the foot traffic. And so when I came up with this new plan, I had fixed some of the issues, right? So now we're all essentially sharing overhead, right? Because we're all renting to be in one space. We are now creating a larger customer base. If she's bringing in 10 people and Sandcastles is bringing in 10 people and I'm bringing in 10 people, that's potentially 300 customers coming in through those doors every weekend. I would never see that in my small store. So I'm creating a foot traffic. I'm creating now an experience because you get to come and shop my store and shop the other stores. The overhead is going to be lower than it would being in a place like in Portsmouth or Manchester. You're also solving that problem of having to be open 7 days a week because in a small business and that sort of mindset of like consistency, always being open, that is a number one thing. Like we do that at the restaurants. You have to be open 7 days a week. Like you need to create that consistency. But something like this, it didn't make sense to be open 7 days a week. Like being open Saturday and Sunday as a desired event, as an experience, that made sense. So now you're taking out like the labor of having to like be at your store 7 days a week. That opened up me to be able to go do the things that I needed to do, like helping at the restaurant, doing the social media. So this fixed a lot of the issues I was having with the small business. But yeah, I think about it all the time. Like I was literally failing in a 700 square foot small space with $700 in overhead and joined a space that was 10 times that in all aspects. And how crazy that is, like it's absolutely wild. But it had the potential to fix all the things that wasn't working in the small space. Was it a gamble? Was it the most scariest thing I've ever done in my life? 100%. Like Christmas happened. Christmas was great. And then the number one thing was, what is next? What is next? What is next? So it was like a no-brainer. I was gonna do this. And then I remember.
So you weren't sure beyond Christmas?
No.
Okay.
The lease wasn't signed. Nothing was definite. I was pretty like set. I wanted to do it because I'm a dreamer. So I was like, yeah, of course I would do this full time. Like this is amazing. But like hadn't really run the numbers or like really like sat down with like a business plan quite yet. And then like I did briefly and then I told the landlord I wanted to do it for the year. And then the lease was made. And I remember like I went up to my best friend Dakota, who was also doing like gift wrapping for Christmas. I like went up to her and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, should I even do this? And she was like, yeah, no, I ran the numbers. This will work. And I was like, oh, it will? She was like, yeah, it will. So I was like, okay. So I had other people who like believed in what I was doing and just like maybe saw it in a way that I didn't. And we're like, no, like this could work. People that had maybe more business experience or could see it from, okay, maybe not more business experience, but that could see it from a different light. We didn't have the blinders on.
Yes,
the
you're too
mind.
close to the sun.
Yeah. So like other people saw it and believed in it. So I'm like, all right, we're going to give it a whirl.
Now, when you say that this could work, what exactly does that mean? Does that mean we can survive or does that mean we can thrive?
Thrive.
Okay.
I think, yeah. I mean, both. We'll definitely survive, but I think that we have something incredibly special that is going to be, like, I think that, like, we're going to sit here and you're going to be like, hey, back in that interview, did you really realize how big this was? And I'm going to say no. Like, I think that we're on the cusp of something like that. Like, we're really creating something super special.
What makes it so special?
I think one, the people that I have in here, like I'm so thankful for all the small businesses, and especially like some of those who've really invested and created like this collaboration. I think we have a vibe that you can't recreate. We have this group of people who want to succeed, who want their neighbors to succeed, who really are coming together to create something unique. I also think that like they're experiencing the same things that I experience as a small business. So to like try and cut out those challenges that like are put in front of small businesses and try and like create an easier way to succeed is something really special.
You've talked a lot about, on your social media specifically, about how much support you have received in this from people that you've had putting together all of these mini houses to all the decorations. This is truly a team effort. Yeah,
I swear, every time that I'm like, this isn't going to work, or maybe we can't do this. Like I have people that are like showing up with tools that like, no, I thought about this last night. They come in with like drawn out diagrams and to-do lists. And they're like, nope, we're going to do this. I'm like, how are we going to do this? I've had people with full-time jobs come in here after work, stay till 11 p.m. almost every night. Brenda, who's like semi-retired, she's not. She is always working, but she's spent like 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. days in here with me, like building these houses. She flips houses for a living. So like having someone like that on my team was very helpful. But yeah, I mean, I think that if I ever wanted to give up, no one would let me. So here I am.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think so many people are supporting you in this way?
Well, because it's something special for them too. Like I think that they believe that this is a place where their businesses will thrive. So I've created that space, but now they're like, no, like I need this space because I believe in my business and what it can do for my business. So I feel like I'm the Seacoast dream dealer because I have found all of these small businesses and I have convinced them to, believe in themselves, jump on board with this. And then like, I literally feel like it's peer pressure because I'm like, yeah, give it a try. Or like, they'll have a good week. I'm like, yeah, just sign up for another week. Like sign up again. So I just feel like I'm like this like peer pressure, but in the best way, because like I'm trying to like get them to believe in themselves and like join this. But yeah, I just think that a lot of people that have small businesses that may not have given them a chance have because of the Live Freely market. And I know that to be true because people have told me that, which is super exciting. Just like be a spot for people to start something that they may not have been able to before. That's a real change that I'm creating, that like something, again, I didn't think that I would be able to be that space for somebody.
You said this was the scariest decision of your life. Why do you say that?
Well, one, I mean, it is a new, sure, there might be something similar in other places, but I think it's really new for the Seacoast. It's like creating a brand new concept. I've only done retail for 2 years. So like, this is brand new to me. Yes, business ownership isn't new, but like when it comes to retail and like actually like product-based businesses, this is brand new. I've only done it for 2 years. And, my first attempt at it, everyone yells at me when I call it a failure. So it didn't fail, but just like, had to shift and pivot. And this was my pivot. But I think it was scary because so many people are relying on me. Like this business only works if other small businesses jump on board. And then like actually having small businesses jump on board and trust me and trust my vision that it's going to be a home for their businesses and they'll succeed is scary. But it's also incredible that those people like believe in me. And Christmas time, I was like shocked about the amount of people that actually signed up. And
the vendors that signed up.
Yeah. I couldn't even believe it. I had 20. I had Amanda over at Variegated Roots. The Live Freely market hadn't even happened yet. And I sent out like just an inquiry like, hey, would anyone be interested in doing like a winter market, like with a little bit of like an application? And not even an hour after that email went out, she sent in the application, was like, hey, can I pay you? And I was like,
really?
Yes. I was like, you haven't even attended one of my events. Like, how do you even know that I could pull this off? Like, so that's super humbling and like really cool that like people believe in you, even when like sometimes you don't believe in yourself, Do
you not believe in yourself sometimes?
No, I do. I definitely do, because like who takes on these risks if you don't believe you can pull it off? But yeah, sometimes I'm like, who put this together? Like, it could not have been me. Like, who's responsible for this? Like, who should I be thanking? Because there's no way I did that.
What was it like for you in the Christmas market when I know things were crazy, but if you ever got a moment just to yourself, just to step back and just take it all in when you saw all the vendors and all just the foot traffic and the buzz, because this is new to the Seacoast, this kind of concept. What was it like for you to just see it, something that started in your head, and to see it out in the world in this way?
It was pretty cool. And it is really exciting to like see a vision like come to life, but I guess you never really know what it's going to be like. So it is a community, which is what I hoped it would create. But like we had customers come back every single week. Like I had regulars at the community oven, and that makes sense to me for you to like come back to eat food. But for like people to like literally come in here every single weekend to shop was
You got
so
drinks.
cool.
I mean, why wouldn't you want to come in?
But it was just so like they had to come back. They had to see what was next, because we did have like rotating vendors that like would leave and like come in. So like, yeah, there was a reason to come back, but it was just super cool. And they're like bringing their friends, and they would just keep coming, and like, and they still come. They came to, some of them who don't even have dogs came to the market just because they love the Freely market. So it was cool. I've got groupies.
Yeah. How has the word spread? What's been the primary method for getting the word out?
Word of mouth.
Really?
Like people who come and experience it and then like tell people what it's like is absolutely the best form of advertising for me. Like, you know, Facebook, Instagram, all of that's great. But the people who are like, oh no, they're talking about it is really what I think makes this so great, and like what brings in the people. Because like you can see something on social media, like, oh, I'm interested in that. But when your friend's like, no, you have to go to this place. Did you go to that place yet? That's going to get you to go in there, you know?
Would you agree with my assessment? Because this has been my takeaway from the Seacoast and running Seacoast Stories, that word of mouth is the best form of marketing around here. Like you can do the socials well, like you said, but that only gets you so far. It seems to me that word of mouth is the most effective form of marketing. As someone who's been involved in so many Seacoast businesses, not including this one, would you agree with that?
100%. Yeah, the Seacoast word of mouth is very, very powerful for sure.
How, for like a Seacoast business owner listening, how can they best tap into word of mouth?
Well, that's just creating an experience that people want to talk about, you know? I think that making sure that their experience is great, whether it comes from customer service or having that good bartender that's charismatic, or having a really cool aesthetic when you walk in, or anything that wants people to share and talk about like what they did that day and stand out in some way, you know? Whether it's like a funny sign when you walk in, or painting your whole place pink, or whatever it is, to like create that uniqueness about you that people are going to talk about.
You posted recently that this is your 10th business you've opened.
Yes.
Alyssa, you were 31 years old.
Yep.
That's a lot of businesses opened in a short amount of time. I couldn't help but wonder what makes this different for you in terms of you've bounced around from a lot of things. Why does the Live Freely market have staying power? And why is this something that you'll be able to do for a while, do you think?
Well, I think that it's kind of the opening part of any business has always been my favorite, because it's just so exciting. And it's just like that drive is on overdrive now, because like you're building something, like you're putting in the long hours, the long nights, all of the hard work goes into the first few months. And then when you open, you're kind of like, oh, like,
right. That rush of adrenaline's gone.
Yeah. And like, so that building part has always been my favorite. So what I think is so cool about here is like we have new businesses moving in every weekend. So there is like that excitement for them, where they're like coming in and they're trying to figure out what to do with the space and how to like make it their own. And for them, it's kind of like their own opening of their business, like their launch. And it's really exciting to be a part of that. And I think, yeah, this is probably going to keep me busy for a while because of like also the organizing of all of it, like trying to find those new businesses and helping them find their space here. And every single Friday for me, move-in day, is like an opening of a brand new business. It's just like a new start every week. So it's a lot of fun, and it is that excitement of something new.
Why do you think the universe is working to your benefit so much these days?
I don't know. I think you have to put the energy out there. And, you know, I think that I think that I've been working towards this for a very long time without realizing it. I think that this has been my story. This has been growing. This has been what I've meant to do. With all of the trials and tribulations and everything that I've gone through, for this to be what's happening for me now, and like the closing of the store and all the other things that I've gone through in the last few years, like I couldn't tell you this was what it was supposed to be. I couldn't tell you that there was going to be any positive outcome. So like to have something so incredibly big happening for me like this right now does feel like it's the universe. It does feel like everything I've put in, everything that I've tried that has failed has now come to this moment in ways that I can't really explain. I don't really remember a life without the market. Like, it just feels like this is just like what I'm supposed to do. Like waking up, like, I don't know. I don't remember like not waking up and like not coming in here working towards something. Like, I mean, I remember waking up and going to the ovens the same, the same way I'm doing it now. But like, I don't know. It's just different. It's weird.
It's not weird. I relate to everything you just said. I don't remember life before Seacoast Stories. Everything I ever did at ESPN, every failure I ever had, every interaction I ever had, all feels like it's bubbled up to what I'm doing right now. So I totally get what you mean.
Yeah, it's
That's
just
so cool.
weird.
Yeah.
But obviously you talk about being anxious, and I talk about, living free from, self-doubt and anxiety and whatnot. And like, I've always struggled with mental health in our own ways. And I remember when you go to the doctor, even just regular appointments now, not even just like ones that have to do with mental health, but when they're just like, oh, like in the last 7 days, have you felt sad or like motivated or whatever? And I feel like I always was like, a few days. I went to an appointment a few weeks ago and I was like, no, I'm great. Like none of the days, like just filled with just like so much purpose, like something that I just felt like I haven't maybe in a while. So everything feels like aligned and great. And like, I know I'm going to have, a bad day soon. But now maybe I have, that purpose behind me that just feels rewarding.
Thank you to Jay, thank you to Alyssa for rejoining me, and thanks to all of you for listening. And a final reminder that Seacoast Stories Live is going down this Thursday, 7 p.m. at the Word Barn in Exeter. The doors open at 6. The current plan is for the show to be outside in the Meta. So please be sure to check the weather so you can dress accordingly. For general seats, you can bring your own blankets and chairs, or you can upgrade your seats for a more VIP experience. If the weather gods fail us and it rains, then we will move the show inside. So that's why it's really important to get your ticket now, because if we have to move inside, there's a smaller capacity. So secure your spot now by visiting the ticket link in these show notes. That's it for today's episode. But if you see me around town this week, frantically putting together the final pieces for the show, perhaps at La Mulita Coffee, Laney and Lou, or Lil's Cafe, then please stop me and say hi. I would love to hear your story. Until Thursday, everybody, have a great week. Live free or die.